Harold Letterman, how'd you score it?
Okay, Jim. I got it 2-1, 29-28, Erik Morales. I give Erik Morales the first 2 rounds. Jim, I tell you, instead of a herky-jerky style he's got, he leads in with that hard left jab to the body, and then he goes upstairs with the right hand. It's not 1-2. He's working it up and down. Works that left jab beautifully. Guty Espadas is standing very, very straight up. He's an easy target. He doesn't move his head much. But in the 3rd round, Guty Espadas walked him down, pressed him back, and knocked him into the ropes. So I thought Guty won the 3rd round. 2-1, Erik Morales.
I have the same score. But I think that Espadas is giving Morales more problems to solve than he anticipated.
Jay Nady warning Morales first not to hold behind the head while hitting, and then turning and offering the same warning to Espadas, just to be fair. Hard right hand to the body by Morales.
Morales is not as crisp with his combination. There seems to be a little bit more of a gap than he usually has shown in the past of his fights. And, I don't know, it could be possibly he's been maybe overtraining. It could happen. He's been having so many big fights, and he seemingly loves boxing, and something is missing. It seems like there's a little staleness or something or somewhere. It's not the crispness that he has shown in the past in most of his fights.
Or for some reason, again, a greater level of respect for Espadas than he's shown for most other opponents.
That's correct.
At the end of round 2, when they traded shots toe-to-toe, Morales looked as though he was comfortable with that. But in the corner, Morales' trainer, his father, Jose Morales, said, "Why did you do that? You don't have to do that." So he boxed again in round 3.
But seemingly he's not hurting Espadas as much. He's landing a lot of punches, and Espadas is such a relaxed kid that he seems to take the punches and comes right back. And if this fight goes down a stretch and he picks it up a little bit more, I think he can be a much more tougher opponent than I expected.
Well, one question you always ask when a guy moves up even 4 pounds in weight from 122 to 126 is, does he carry his punch with him?
Well, that's always been a fact. But I think in Morales' case, the extra weight was his advantage. But for whatever reason, I just think that maybe somewhere along the way, maybe been a little bit too much overtraining possibly in preparation of this fight.
Of course, while Morales' punch may go up in weight with the 126, he's fighting against bigger targets, and again,
can absorb the blows.
Exactly. And to make the point that Larry made earlier, Espadas, one of the first opponents Morales has ever seen, who is his height, or perhaps even taller.
And very relaxed.
Very. Guty Espadas Sr., father of, is a cut man and second in Guty's corner, whereas Jose Morales is the trainer for Erik Morales across the ring.
Nomás búscale un buen perfil con tu mano derecha para que te pueda hacer un buen derechazo y con ese va. Concéntrate bien.
That's Morales Sr. leading in from the far side and talking to his son.
En este round búscame un buen cruzado.
Give him some more room.
Anda con la barbita al aire.
Give him some more room.
Constantemente está
Okay,
con su barbita al aire.
you need to have a little more angle there. You're too straight up. Now move around and let's do something a little more than what you've been doing.
Cuida más la salida.
You got to watch out as you go out.
You hear me? Move over some. We'll stop the fight until you do this.
Tu mano izquierda para que la bajes por bien.
Box.
Jay Nady, the referee, does not speak Spanish, but so far he hasn't had to.
Fighting at an extremely measured pace. Espadas threw only 50 punches in round 4. Morales threw 61, landed 20. Those are not big punch numbers for fighters in this weight class. Now here comes Morales trying to launch a full-scale assault with that overhand right.
Here we go.
And for the second time, Nady warns the fighters not to hold behind the head. Tremendous temptation once your hand is there to try to steady the target. Right hand lands for Morales. Espadas shakes it off.
I have a feeling that as the fight goes on that Espadas is going to pick up the tempo and it's going to turn out to be a pretty exciting fight going down the stretch. Because he seemed to be so relaxed and he can see Morales' punches coming to the degree that it's not even affecting him that much. And I think at a certain stage, he himself has had a lot of respect for Morales. I've been speaking so much about Morales respecting him, and I think he's going to start picking it up a little bit as the fight goes on.
Sure doesn't look like a fight in which one guy was a 7-to-1 betting favorite, does it?
Definitely.
There'll be a lot of nervous Morales money in the building at this moment.
Yes. I thought that the 7-to-1 was a justifiable odds to it. But for whatever reason, this kid seems to avoid most of the punches with his relaxed motion. And if he can pick up the tempo a little bit more, it's going to make it a very close fight.
This is the kind of fight in which Morales might wish at some point that he had worked harder over the years on developing a body attack. He's been so much the Air Force, coming over the top and just strafing opponents with the overhand right and generally scoring knockouts, but he hasn't really had to focus that much on throwing to the body.
Studying what I believe I see in the eyes of the two, I see that Morales is probably having a lot of doubts about a lot of things at this point in time also. And his confidence seems to not be what it was at the beginning of the fight. Even though he's winning the fight, he seems to be still having a lot more respect right now at this point in time.
Now, he's not fighting like El Terrible. He's not just going in there and commanding his opponent the way he's been accustomed to doing.
That's correct.
Jim, I believe he didn't feel much that Espadas was much of an opponent. He didn't pay him much respect. Every time we've talked to him, he's always respected his opponents. And he showed, I think, a transparent lack of respect for Espadas, and maybe he's underestimated him.
Which could translate to some frustration if things continue to go the way they're going.
In the meeting, he mentioned that Espada threw too many looping, gangly, slow punches, and so therefore he disdained everything that Espada did.
Échame la planchita.
Let's get that iron on him. We have to, he's swollen a little bit. He's moving around too much, so you got to press the fight. Don't blow your nose. He's moving around a lot, so you need to put the pressure. He's boxing you.
El lado izquierdo ya lo trae hinchado el ojo.
Your opponent's got the left eye swollen. He's got to keep throwing that right hand.
No descuides tus salidas.
Don't.
Tu regreso de tu
You got to
mano
watch
izquierda.
out. When you come out, be careful.
Tu regreso de tu mano izquierda. Pintea un poco, se tragan los pintos.
Box. Round 6, scheduled 12. Closer than expected fight so far between Guty Espadas and Erik Morales. Morales with a CompuBox edge in punches thrown and landed, but it's been a relatively slow-paced fight for featherweights. The two fighters showing each other a lot of respect, and there's a right hand by Guty Espadas that Morales saw coming, but it landed anyway. As he backs away. Espadas won this version of the featherweight crown from seemingly washed up Luisito Espinosa. Defended it against a lesser known opponent, so he didn't have big credentials coming in, even though he's the titleist in the fight.
The speed has been the biggest factor in this fight, and plus being busy has been a big advantage for Morales. But if Espada would pick up his tempo and punch with more speed, the fight's going to be very, very close going down the stretch.
Espadas has been stopped only once in his career, 4 or 5 years ago. The American Darryl Pinckney. But he's become a much better fighter over the last several years.
Darryl Pinckney has a career record right at about 500, more than 20 losses, but he has wins over 2 world champions, Junior Jones and Guty Espadas. Espadas commanding this inside exchange. Now Morales comes back. And Espadas backing Morales into the ropes and raking him with a left hook. Slow round for Morales. Espadas seizing some of the initiative here.
As slow as Espadas is, Morales still can't hit him with solid punches. He barely can touch him, usually grazing punches on the side of the head. For whatever reason, he has a way of avoiding most of his blows.
On February 26th, a brand new episode of Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. Among the stories, Mark Cuban, the NBA's youngest and most controversial owner. Certainly he's been in the news the last couple of days after having run onto the court during an on-court fight. Also, out-of-work baseball umpires looking to rebuild shattered lives. Hello, Erik. Greg, that's Monday, February 26th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time. Real Sports, nothing is out of bounds.
Fuera, Erik, lo dominas por completo. Este es un bruto. Tú eres mucho mejor.
You're smarter than him. You're better than he is.
No
You can dominate him.
de las cuerdas. Y tú lo dominas en medio.
Vamos, Guti. No te hace nada.
CompuBox numbers in round 6 favor Espadas, landing 27 of 62 to only 10 of 54 for Morales, who spent most of the round missing with his right hand.
I gave that round to Espadas.
Harold, did you give it to Espadas also?
Absolutely. When I disagree with Larry Merchant, 4 rounds to 2, 58-56. Erik Morales. Jim, I got to tell you, I don't know. The Guty Espadas is the champion, but he just ambles forward like that. And in the first 6 rounds, threw very, very few punches as I saw it. Morales was the busier guy, and that's why I got him ahead. Not far ahead, 4-2. It's either guy's fight. But in round 6, Guty Espadas did just what he's doing right now. He moved his hands, let the punches go, and whacked Erik Morales. He can still win this fight.
This is exactly what Emmanuel Stewart said would happen if he told you that Espadas would begin to pick up the tempo in the middle rounds. Starting in the last round, he did it.
Similarly, he seemed to have more confidence in himself at this point than Morales, even though Morales has better speed. But Espadas seems to be more stabilized, and I think he's going to pick it up even more so. And for whatever reason, certain chemistries between certain styles sometimes just work different. Now, maybe Espadas may not be a flashy fighter, may not be a fast fighter, but his body rhythm seemingly is throwing off Morales, and Morales can't land the solid blows that he's landed on other opponents. See that he just pulled back and then shoot a counter jab with his left hand after blocking a punch with the same left hand. And those type things seemingly are troubling Morales at this stage.
Remember how Julio Cesar Chavez just couldn't have his way with Frankie Randall after having dominated so many other fighters with similar styles? There was something about Randall that was impossible for Chavez.
But when they made the fight, I told Don King this is the worst fight to make, simply because Julio has that real beautiful habit of picking off right hands in a Mexican way. When he picks a right hand off, just like you pick off a jab, you know, he parries it off. And Ramos shot such straight right hands through the center, and Julio never could counter them because he shot him such a straight line manner.
Meanwhile, here in round 7, Espadas is again throwing more punches, physically punishing Morales at close range, and easily winning the round.
Not as crisp with his punches, but it's still effective.
Brewing upset here in Las Vegas as Guty Espadas is giving overwhelmingly favored Erik Morales a difficult run for his money. They come down the stretch of the 7th, throwing punches, and Morales lands a big uppercut, but Espadas goes right back in.